the red side as we start up here in Nepal.
Yeah, Nepal going to be an interesting start to this one. We've actually seen it mostly banned out from teams in the past, so everyone appears to sort of be ready. And I want to see it. I really do. I mean, you've essentially got like a collection of 12 players that really have been around the scene for quite some time, right? So I really do think that Splyce, man, I think back to the Atlantic Showdown regionals, dude. They were so close. They were so close to being energy, man, and all sort of turned around. It was a very close series. So I got a lot of time for this team. And for those that missed my little spiel about Pure, it's pretty simple. I was just sort of saying that it was one of the early adopters of Zenyatta, as most teams were. That was one of the situations where pro teams reacted very positively to a change of a hero. And I just think he was he stood out to me as someone who had a good understanding of him straight off the bat there as well. The games that I saw them play through back when they were sort of trialing Shane as Ghost, when Pure was on that hero, was yeah, generally very, very effective. So I have the utmost faith in that lineup now as well. Ninja Nick, obviously a more recent addition there, probably the most recent, but Sickness and Shrugger were joining in up at the same time there. So they've had time to sort of settle with those 3 new additions. So I don't know, feels good, man. I think Splyce are looking good for this one.
Yeah, Splyce, I definitely think can run away with this. It is interesting when it comes to Lucio players, because Lucio players I feel like are some of the hardest to evaluate in the game. For Lucio, it's sort of, are you dying early? No, then it becomes 10 times harder to figure out how Lucio is actually doing. And oh man, they're abusing the baskets right now. This is Symmetra abuse. There's no other way of saying it, Uber.
I saw an incredible play of the game, actually, where a Symmetra attached her turrets to the basketball. 4 turrets onto a basketball, and then she literally hoovers it outside, and she gets all these kills by throwing the basketball at people because the turret's stuck to it. It's freaking amazing, but I digress. We're going to get onto the map now as well, and we do have a bit of an engagement. B-Drop goes straight into the back line, and so does You Must Tui here. Super good trades early on coming out of the side of Tempo Storm. Where the heck is Splyce?
And what happened is that they ran into Mangachu's Rockets. Mangachu had a beautiful opening right there. Rockets went to the doorway, and it did all sorts of terrible damage to the backline. He already has 50% of an ult charge, and that was about as bad of a start as you could get for Splyce, as Pharah making her grand return, and we'll see if they have what it takes to take her out. They're not running a McCree or anything here, so let's get... Oh, as I say that, clockwork, the switch up is real. No longer Tracer, not McCree, and it's precisely the deal with this Pharah.
I mean, Mangachu, man, back when we used to see him play Pharah when she was sort of in vogue, he was an incredible Pharah player, really highlighted some of her abilities. And look at this, we can see Splyce forced to sort of filter out here through a very close little quarters, and those Pharah rockets doing so much damage, and Sickness and Pure both fall the wayside to Mangachu's rockets here. It's all well and good that you got a McCree, that's fine, but if you're not killing the Pharah, then you're not really doing your job, you're not justifying the pick. Luckily, Shane, his Ghost, is able to come back into this fight. Nap time falls to him now, and the Primal Rage is popped.
We got 2 Winstons leaping into the air. Everyone doing the awesome guy right now, as it were, as Mangachu desperately tried to get out of there. Winston in hot pursuit will shake him, at least for now. Has a barrage up here to try and defend this, as Tempo will be coming right back in onto this in just a moment. Here comes barrage from the back, takes out one, looking for more, and that's okay. But however, Clockwork coming in hot, has 2 kills, and McCree definitely so you have to deal with this. Clockwork right now just ripping apart the Tempo backline.
Yeah, really nice there. I mean, Shrugger goes in with a Dragon Blade, so most of the attention's going to be on him anyway. Clockwork free just to deal damage as he wishes now, and Mangachu lying in wait up topside. Shrugger does find him, but quickly hits the reflect, and this is going to force Mangachu to abscond straight back over the little arch here, and it will be a regroup attempt from Tempo Storm. So very, very good start for them. Mangachu there, lucky to get away with his life in some ways, as Shrugger did uncover him. So they're going to have to come back in for a fight. They're going to res. They've also got a Graviton Surge. This could be very, very big now. They're working from the left-hand side, and they're getting set up for a fight.
Mini right now holding on to the Graviton, waiting for sub 2. Graviton comes out, but he goes down right away. Sickness able to melt him down. Zarya on Zarya action. 2 kills here from Splyce. Make it 4, but the res is out. Nap time brings up the Fallen Heroes. There's still life in this fight, but Sickness gonna pull in the Graviton late in the fight. 3 people sucked in. Is the follow-up. There it is. Shrugger feasting off of that setup. And Uber, he's gonna have a Dragon Blade for the next fight.
Yeah, I mean, excellent setup there for Shrugger. What was even probably more impactful in that situation was Clockwork. Again, he chimes in with crucial kills when they're required at the start of the fight. You know, like Shrugger definitely got in there and did work, but that was more of a cleanup there. So Clockwork is good positioning and knows when to just sort of get the heck out of dodge and get away from that point. So he's got a decent angle diagonally through that point to get damage done.
Indeed, and we'll see what Shrugger can do here in the next fight, but you look at Tempo, they're fully stocked, 5 ults out the right, they're going to be opening up in the Sound Bear, looking for more. Shrugger though, Dragon Blade still out, going to be running right inside Sound Bear as Mangachu, the Justice, takes out 2, 3 kills here from Tempo, and they're turning it right back, but they still have some work to do here, Uber. They are down in percentage, even as Mangachu gets that last kill in the Pure.
Yeah, and Mega 2 chasing out there as well, getting himself a nice couple kills. You have to answer this Pharah eventually. We did see the response coming in from Splyce was excellent. That point retake and flip back in their favor gets him up to 79%. But Mega 2 is a threat, and especially when he's got nap time, of course, just leashing him there, giving him the heals as he requires them. I mean, you do need... I mean, if there's anyone that's going to be able to deal with that, it's going to be Clockwork. He reliably should be able to hit Mega 2 in theory, but look at this. Look at how you can zone people out there from that small little corridor. Still Splyce off to go that way. Clockwork now as well, sort of in the back lines a little bit here, but B drop and nap time both fall down. Now that's half of the pharmacy combo being taken out of the mix. Mega 2 still up in air, gets on towards Clockwork, but has a Discord orb on him, and he's going to have to back away. That's a good answer. You know, you don't always have to deal with the Pharah. At least get rid of the Mercy, and you're going to be okay.
That was all on Clockwork there. It had 3 really beautiful shots on the nap time and made Strugger's job so easy for finishing off Mercy in the backline. And it really set up the rest of Splyce there to retake this. And now look at the fight here. 87% remaining. This is the last chance for Tempo to pull this round back in their favor. It started out really good with them on the Pharah, but adaptations have been made. Sickness now with the Graviton could end this right here. Graviton in, pulls in 2. Will the follow through be there as Shanu's Ghost, W-Mouse wanting right in. 3 kills here from Splyce and Uber. They've probably done it.
Yeah, I mean, Shrugger reflects, I think, Mini's right-click back at him. I think that's what killed him there. He did essentially kill himself, so Clockwork gets 2 sickness with 2 of his own. And yes, it's going to be Splyce taking this one back there. Beautiful stuff. It's going to be overtime ticking on down. And Pharah, she's far more effective when you have control of this central point. You can really hit those corridors and those very slim avenues of approach to the main point. But when you have to fight back in with her and you have to come over the top, you do make a target out of yourself. So I like that. Splyce coming back in, really Clockwork, super consistent all round, very much living up to his name as he was as regular as his namesake.
In the end, it was just a good read of the situation where they looked at it. They could have stayed on the Tracer, but Clockwork says, you know what? McCree's going to be a better choice here, and he was able to apply good pressure not only to the Pharah, but also to Mercy. Yep. It's worth knowing that Mercy is basically a different hero when it comes to mobility with a Pharah involved, because Mercy's going to be in the air a lot, but you know who's good about shooting things out of the air? A McCree.
Yeah, absolutely, and people sort of got to think outside the box when they're trying to deal with the Pharah. Often the problem with the Pharah is the McCree, right? Or is the Mercy, sorry. That's going to be keeping her healed up a lot of the time and let her shrug off the shots from McCree. So you really need to get your hierarchy of priority sorted when you're dealing with the pharmacy combo. Shanu's Ghost, they're going to move back on towards the point. He'll take that one up first, and around the side is where we're going to see most of Tempo Storm trying to make this fight happen. Mega 2 tries to get into the back line. He's quickly stunned up, but able to recall out of that one. Clockwork will still be looking for him, but Mini and Bread Expert chime in nicely early on in the fight. Shanu's Ghost had to back away and get health, and that pretty much means that the entirety of Splyce have got to take a big old backstep.
Splyce had some troubles there. I think they overdived onto point a little bit. Clockwork wasn't able to get on the targets he wanted to. He did have a flashbang on the Mangachu, and maybe if he finishes that out, it works. But I guess we'll have to see. So right now, it is Splyce resetting here on the point. It's going to... Or sorry, Tempo resetting here on the point. Splyce is going to have to move right back in. Clockwork looking for his opportunity once more. It has Winston right in his face, has to back out, but does take out B drops. Good mobility and Clockwork to actually turn this in favor. 3 kills here from Splyce and Uber. They're bringing it right back.
Yeah, no doubt about it. They didn't even have to walk onto the point there. Tempo took the fight to Splyce, and it was a little bit disadvantageous. They tried to work over on the left side and straight through the middle. And, we're seeing at the end of Yumas, who is the last man alive and still not doing enough damage. That's an issue. He was left to his own devices, but couldn't find a squishy target to remove there. And now Pure will have that Transcendence coming into the next fight. We're going to have a Death Blossom as well from Shrugger in just a few moments here. So Splyce have the tools that they need to sort of win this one out. They've given a little bit of rope over towards Tempo Storm, but just enough for them to hang themselves with it.
Might have Death Blossom versus Transcendence here. Here comes the Sound Bear to start things out, but no, the Death Blossom takes out Bread Expert immediately. 2 quick kills here from Splyce, and Tempo would be well advised to just hold their ultimates to get this fight as over as it starts. Decisive counter-engage coming out here from the defense.
And also clever use of ultimates. Now, you notice that we still have a Deadeye, and the Transcendence, most importantly, is still available. We saw a Sound Barrier come out, and Shrugger did, of course, use that Death Blossom to good effect. So that's just as well, because Tempo Storm are coming into this next fight with a lot of ultimates up their sleeve here. They do have the Graviton Bomb combo. That would be probably the most devastating, and Pure's Transcendence isn't going to be able to stop that from killing people, right? We'll have to see how this works out now. Pure going to come back in. He finds Yumas 2 straight away. Perfect little pick off there from Pure. I sang his praises at the start of the game. He hasn't made me look like an idiot. And that Graviton Bomb combo only gets on towards Sickness, but still, the rest of the fight continues as B drop finds Clockwork.
3 kills here from Tempo. They're using the ult to advantage of burned almost everything. They're still holding on to Sound Barrier and Dragon Blade, and if they can win this fight without using them, that's really huge for their ult economy. It's going to let them potentially take the next fight, and honestly, they do need a shot in the arm here because 25% to 73%, they're going to have to win at least 1 or 2 fights down ults if they want to win this round.
And to be fair, if you're a good team, you can just use a Graviton Surge and win a fight off the back of it now, especially when there is no Transcendence available on the opposition side. There is, however, a Sound Barrier, so we'll have to see, make sure the Bread Expert uses that one wisely here. I know he's a Bread Expert, he's going to have to need to be a Lucio Expert to get this one right. It's going to be a Graviton Surge coming in, and there was a shield there as well, so not that on its own is not going to be enough to win the fight, but there it is as the Death Blossom comes straight through the middle. Shrugger gets himself 2 easy ones there, going to make his way on out, and so does Shane. Isgo swinging for the fence, finds you much too, he then crashes him in his hand. That'll flip it back over here towards the side of Splyce, and they did have to use a lot of ultimates, but there are none left at all for Tempo Storm.
They had to use ultimates there, but it's not like Tempo went out of that unscathed either. They used both Sound Barrier and Dragon Blade, did not get what they were looking for, and now we'll have very little to back them up as they move in onto this point. They're going to be running into Deadeye. It's basically, well, no, it's not a no ult free no ult. Sound Barrier is out. This is very bad for Tempo Storm. Ninja Nick drop the Sound Barrier, and we're going to see if Splyce can clean up. This is a fight they should win. Clockwork takes out Mangachu to start out. They're moving in on the point, and they are just cleaning up. Shrugger and Clockwork getting all the damage they need. And this is going to be round number 2 here to Splyce.
That's right, there's no chance Tempo Storm stand up to this one, and I really have to hang this round on the DPS players this time from Splyce. I've got to say, Shrugger doing huge amounts of work. Even when he doesn't have the ultimate, that Death Blossom available, he's still getting 2, 3 kills, bagfuls even. And Clockwork, I mean, Deadeye, not really the most efficient way of sort of anti-personnelling your way through this map there, but he didn't really have to do it. He found Mangachu every single time he came through. He got the stun down, he got the headshot, and it was easy as 1, 2, 3 there as well. I really didn't see Mangachu as effective this half without the Pharaoh.
Well, part of that one thing was just really good prioritization coming out from Clockwork. You notice from how he was doing it there, where he wasn't actually trying to go in with the rest of his team in a lot of cases and just lay in general damage. He was staying back. He was waiting for Mangachu in a lot of those fights, and we've actually seen that from McCree's more often here. We saw Too Easy, of course, do that at times versus teams like Rogue, where Too Easy would just hang back and wait for Tavik instead of just going full in.
Sure.
And that's a skill that I think not every team is really engaged here, where it's okay not to be doing maximum damage all the time, so long as you're doing good damage to the targets you need to do it to.
Yeah, no doubt about it here. It's really about, you know, some McCree's take it upon themselves just to find the Tracer and deal with her at every single chance they can. Splyce are going to be pushing quite a long way forward here as well. They deny this sort of left-hand side of the map here, which gives them so much flexibility of pushing on towards the point or otherwise. And with Mangachu falling so early on here and nap time to follow, you've just gutted the damage potential of Tempo Storm here. They're going to have to back away and wait.
Clockwork opened up with some great shots there, headshots from long range, still very deadly, and really set his team up. It was good poke to start things out. He's already at 70% ult, a testament to how much he did there, and now it's Tempo on the back foot, and this is a must-win round for them if they don't want to go down one map. So we'll see what Mangachu has in store here. We'll be looking to knock some people in the pit as he goes right in over the top.
Yeah, it's a Clockwork having just to back away here. He does at least have a Harmony Orb, which is going to heal through most of the Tesla cannon damage coming at him from B-drop, and then Pure takes him down. It's going to be a Discord Orb, an easy pickup, and now Mangachu up in the air. Nap time trying to stick with him here as well, but Mangachu eventually falls to Shrugger. Gets a little bit too close to Reaper than he really should, and that happens to Pharaoh players on this map. You can't always guarantee yourself safety up in the air, getting, you know, arm's length away from your opponent. Sometimes you got to go in, and when there's a Reaper looking down the barrel of his Hellfire shotguns at you, there's just no hope for you.
No, not at all, and that's where, again, eventually what goes up must come down. If you come down next to a Reaper, it is going to be bad news bears. And speaking of bad news bears, Shrugger has Death Blossom at the ready. Could be a huge factor as the next fight. Just staying out of sight, out of mind, waiting to go in. It looks like the fight's going to be taking place on the other angle, so he's going to have to have a bit of a journey here if he wants to land a good Death Blossom, but Clockwork able to take out Nap Time from long range. This fight already off to a good start here for Splyce.
Nap Time had res as well. They really needed to use that one in the fight, but he's going to be taken out of the picture. B-drop falls down now. Justice running from above. It's Mangachu only getting Clockwork for his troubles, and that is not enough. Half of that probably off the back of the fact that they lost Nap Time so early in the fight. One would have to wonder, if Tempo Storm had just backed up there, losing the Mercy so early, knowing she had the Resurrect, maybe that fight would have gone better for them.
Very well could have gone better for them, and fortunately Nap Time did die early. Here comes Shrugger, Graviton into Death Blossom perhaps, and no, he's going to hold it. Didn't like what he was seeing. Soundbear comes up later into the fight, and he still might be going in just a moment here as the Death Blossom comes out, goes in, takes out Mangachu, does a lot of damage to Zarya, sets him up for that kill. but Tui coming in at the 11th hour, gets a double kill, has Dragon Blade out the ready. Winston, though, in his face. Not the best matchup for a Genji. Will get healed. Now chasing it down. Rip Shane. And now Shane is Ghost, or Tui has Dragon Blade out the ready. The potential to clean this up, but they might not even need it, Uber.
No, I don't think so. We're going to see Ninja Nick just sitting on the point there. He almost managed to boop off B drop there, but we will go into overtime. It's going to flip over. Both defensive ults were used by Splyce at the start of that fight, and in response, Mini waited them out, then used the Graviton Surge. A lot of the players on Tempo Storm had already died by that point, but there was just enough follow-up in the form of Tui coming in with 3 or so kills to win them the fight and flip the point back. So a little bit frivolous use of those Sound Barrier and Transcendence combos from Splyce there.
All right, Tui is going to be able to shoulder to Dragon Blade out the ready. He goes right to the backline. Lucio in his sights, gets booped around, but Ninja Nick still going to fall. Looking for a little bit more, but 3 kills here for the side of Tempo. Tempo not falling here just yet. Mangachi was over the top with extra fall through. Shrugger's still in this, but as good as he's been, probably not going to be enough as he gets rocketed right into the pit.
No, and now you might see what happens when we see a Pharah on the controlling side of the map, okay? So Mangachu's team, they control the point, and now there's a little bit more flexibility. Now you're forcing your opponents to filter through small doorways and small corridors and also right next to pits. It's quite risky here, and this is where Mangachu comes into his own. He's going to have a barrage available really soon. Clockwork's going to go forward, get a bit aggressive, but B dropped straight into the back line as well. He's picked off. There's no follow-up for Winston to engage, and Tui going so deep there as well. Tried to shut down Clockwork on the Deadeye, but it doesn't work. Clockwork still finds Mangachu amongst the mess, and now as the smoke starts to clear, it is going to be Splyce in control at this point, but the res comes in. Good timing, doesn't res all the key heroes, but just enough. It's going to be Bread Expert and Mini, enough to at least get the sound barrier down, and with Mangachu over the top with that overshield, it's going to help out, especially coming into the barrage, but he gets picked off there. Beautiful from Pure, again, doing what he has to do on that Zenyatta, and this is going to give the point surely over to Splyce now. They have the players, they have the control. Pure comes in with a Transcendence, and it's just a matter of time.
That's really terrible for Tempo. Like, anytime you can get the res in the sound barrier combo, that was the beta 1 combo. That's what always won fights. But Splyce was still able to persevere. They got the kills they needed right after. Tempo was not able to coordinate on their support ult advantage there, and they still ended up falling. And I gotta say, in general, even though it worked out pretty well on the first stage that we played here, I'm not sure I was completely sold on the Pharah play from Mangachu. I understand that he's a great Pharah and has had many, many good moments with that hero, but Clockwork's McCree was doing a really good job of keeping it under control, and even in a map like this, you pointed out mid-cast, but Shrugger was able to catch him more often than not, because again, Pharah does have to hit the ground, and I don't know, it's one of those things where Splyce is playing really well on all levels, but I don't know if Tempo did themselves any favor with their compositional setup.
Look, I mean, Pharah is fine. The thing is, if you have control of the point, you're going to be forcing predictable pathing from the opposition team, right? They need to get back to the point. And the way that these maps are sort of constructed and designed is that, yes, the enemy team has to filter through via a lot of corridors, a lot of close quarters. And obviously, Pharah is excellent at really just dominating in those situations. It's the same reason why Junkrat was such a thing on Dorado, because predictably teams would push into the underpass on the first point and cop a lot of splash damage. The problem is when you actually have to force yourself through, nothing makes it easier to kill a Pharah than sort of being able to predict her movements or her pathing. And when you see her coming, you know she's going to have to come to you. It's going to be that easy. Now, Shrugger had, I think, a good 60% kill participation there on Reaper. So not only was he playing Reaper, but he was really pulling his weight on that particular map. One where Reaper can have problems with, because you often need to cross sort of awkward distances to get up close and personal. But again, when you have control of the point, Reaper can set up in a little nook, a little cranny, and be able to dish that damage out a lot easier than he otherwise would.
We talk a lot about double combos in Overwatch. Of course, you look at a team like Envious, it's the Tailspin and Taimu show. Well, you look at Splyce and how they were playing there, it really was Clockwork and Shrugger, where even at times where Clockwork wasn't landing everything in the back, Shrugger was the silent hero for much of that game, where he was getting 2-3 kills reliably, and even when he wasn't getting kills, he was doing enough damage to set up Clockwork to finish his plate. And it was a really good setup there as far as damage goes, and then you look at the rest of it, Shane had really good tank play, Sickness, very good gravitons over the course of the game, and Pure was just solid as Zen, never really getting picked off early, usually getting good Discord orbs to set up Clockwork and Shrugger, and in general, Splyce looked stronger than I think they have in a lot of cases recently.
I would absolutely echo that. I mean, Pure as well in that last little fight, not only did he pick off Mangachu, but his timing on Transcendence was really, really good. It was at a part of the fight where it still could have gone either way. I think there were still 4 players from Tempo Storm on the point and a Winston using Primal Rage, so still something you need to be a little bit cautious of. But Pure just responded quite accurately and effectively to that one there as well, because we did see the res. That was what the res was being held by nap time for that last sort of fight. So we just responded to correctly by Pure there as well. And to be fair, doing that off the back of killing the Pharah on your own there, Discord and orbs sort of flying on in, Not easy for indirect firers or anyone with like a projectiles to actually really hit that Pharah reliably there. So really, really solid from him. Can't fault that one. A lot of people in chat as well wondering why Mercy doesn't speak Swiss. She does. Swiss people speak a mix of Italian, German, and French, but Swiss German, she doesn't speak Swiss German. That's the problem. A lot of people have a problem with Mercy because she doesn't have that accent that Swiss German speakers do. It's quite strange.
Well, here's the thing. Uber is authority on this because he actually lives in Cologne, unlike me. I visited Cologne for a week. I don't know anything about that city, aside from the fact that knowing a little bit of German is actually a pretty good thing for getting around here.
And that they get grumpy if we hang around at the cocktail bar too late as well.
Oh, yeah. Oh, man, that night. But we are getting set up right now. Both teams appear to be ready. If Mangachu is ready, we're getting into it. Kings Row will be the next map. And I gotta say, if Mangachu is willing to pull out Pharah and Nepal, we should see Pharah come out here for Tempo's attack. I don't know if they'll pull it out on the defense here in Kings Row, but I certainly think we'll see it on the attack, which a lot of other teams are pulling out as well. So it's been the return of Pharah to some extent, although it does feel like she's a little bit more situational than her last run in the meta.
You know, it almost reminds me of sort of when Widow sort of popped out of the meta and she changed, and players like Linksu could no longer just quickscope to their heart's content. And Gods was still sort of playing Widow and getting some success on maps like Numbani and Hollywood First Point. I don't really know if it's going to stick. I think it's a swan song. I think it's a little bit conditional here. The reason why it worked so well through the regionals of the Atlantic Showdown is teams just weren't ready for it, and they couldn't formulate a plan to deal with it because the idea, the prospect of the Pharah Mercy coming back with no sort of prior heralding or announcement. I mean, I spoke to IDDQD about it when Cloud9 did it to him, and they were up 2-0 in a best-of-5 series, and they were like, we just didn't know what to do about it. We had no idea how to counter this out. But the fact is, the same tenets apply. The same ways of playing around Pharah still apply. The fact that Mercy is now a lot stronger, and obviously, you know, it's a little bit more forgiving to be res by Mercy, to be able to, you can act a little bit faster now after the animation. Obviously, it makes more of a case for Pharah Mercy. It was unlikely we're going to see Mercy slip back into the meta without Pharah because they're like peanut butter and jelly. You know, they always go together.
Alrighty, so we are in game right now. Thought we had swapped screens there, but we are back in. It is on Kings Row, and we'll see just what the defense has in store right now, as it will be a Pharah on defense. So I was saying that maybe they just have it on the offense. No, Mangachu going for it on offense, on defense. It's one of his best heroes, and I can respect why players are trying to bring it back. When you look at NG Red, they had their best success in the Pharah era, and a lot of it was due to Mangachu's great plays. So testing out the new meta, see if they can make it work. All more power to it. It will be US2E though on the McCree, and he's going to be the rock of defense here, where as long as he's up, you can expect good consistent damage coming out from the Tempo side. Yeah,
I like the Shrugger Hansley pick here as well. It's been combined with the Sickness Roadhog, so this is a little bit more of a predictable team composition in terms of we know what they're aiming to do. Their win conditions are very clear to us here. Sickness wants to get a hook, or Shrugger wants to get a nice little pick off with Hanzo, which is even more reliable nowadays if you've been keeping in touch with the changes coming in. So Clockwork gets onto Woods Mini, and Shayna's Ghost goes down. So we're trading tanks here. This shouldn't be enough to stop Splyce from coming forward here, especially now with Clockwork finding B-drop. But Ninja Nick falls down. That might be more of a motivation for care and caution on the side of Splyce here.
For the offensive, been trying out enough that's pretty good, but Mangachu able to take out Clockwork towards the end, is still getting healed by Mercy, able to push things back a little bit in what was looking very, very good for Splyce for a quick moment. I will say, though, that Tempo is very lucky to get out of that in the way they did. Yumasui was almost picked off by Sickness very early in that fight. He got out with about 30 HP. If he had gotten picked there, that fight would have gone very, very differently. However, Tempo is able to reestablish. They will have ults up for this next fight. Earthshatter up for Mini, and now a lot of Mini here. If Mini can thread the needle, win the Ryan Games fight against Shane, and land the Earthshatter, this should be a one fight.
Yeah, expect double
right in, speed boost is out, and US2E goes down immediately.
Yeah, we're going to have to see Rezzers here as well now on the defensive side. I'm sure Napalm's going to have to pop that in just a second here because it's all working out in favor of Splyce. Mini goes down, there's the Rez comes in. Now the response for Splyce has to be crisp, it has to be reactive, and we do see Dragon Strike come through. Shrugger gets himself 2 kills. Mangachu didn't have the time to get himself off the ground before that Dragon came through and ate him up whole.
Really good response to the resurrection, and the reason why it's a good response, not only were they able to just mop people up with the Dragon Strike right after, they didn't even have to blow their own resurrection, so this is a big support ultimate advantage as they move in to the next fight. They're going to have res versus no res, and we'll see if they take advantage of this, but it means that the offense can be a little bit more aggro. They can handle 1 or 2 picks here as they move forward because they can't have Ninja Nick bring them back up, and you look at the backline here, there's not too many heroes. Maybe Mangachu will get in on the Mercy, but more than likely, Ninja Nick probably gonna live, but here comes Graviton. Here comes Mangachu. The barrage on the way. Takes out 4. Ninja Nick got caught in that Graviton, and he had no way out.
See, that was the thing. It was a massive advantage for Splyce here. They won that fight without using their res. So they had res advantage, as it were, but unfortunately Ninja Nick was a little bit too close to his team there with the Graviton Surge coming in. He actually got out. He dashed away with Guardian Angel, but was still caught by an errant rocket. And now because they missed that window, Splyce did, Naptime will have his res up, so there won't be that sort of res advantage anymore that we sort of used to talk about a lot before Mercy sort of fell out of favor. A little bit of a misstep there for Splyce. They really could have exploited that timing window a lot more. Now they're just going to have to grind this fight out. But they do bear in mind, of course, they do have the Dragon Strike coming in, which is great here. Going to get used, but no one really get caught by it. Sound Barrier coming out. Very effective timing there, and Mini getting to the back line. Sickness is forced to deal with him. That's Clockwork coming in with 2 easy as you like. That time and B drop, probably the 2 most important targets to deal with on the side of Tempo. They're going to win that fight, and Naptime died with res available.
Clockwork came in there, but I gotta tell you, the real MVP was Shane as Ghost. He won the game of Rhine games. He was the second to Earth Shatter. Mini was not holding up the shield as that Earth Shatter hit, and it's what really opened up Clockwork to go crazy in that fight. So Shane winning that Reinhardt v Reinhardt battle, really setting up Tempo, or really setting up Splyce really, really well there, as Tempo right now just trying to regroup, getting back onto that point, but they've lost a lot of payload progress as a result.
Yeah, I mean, look at it. It's right in front of the Foundry now, and you look through their ultimates. It's just the res that really stands out to me as something that's going to be immediately available. If there's nothing to follow that up, then it's not exactly going to be a convincing res. Mangachu falls to Shrugger there. That's not a good start, and this should be the go signal here for Splyce. They are going to press forward as well. No threat of that Pharaoh there. You can see the Tempo just backing themselves into a corner. They're trying to escape. Shane's Ghost misses his charge. Sickness doesn't care if he gets charged. He's going to shoot you in the face with his shotgun, and he does. Mini falls down now. B-drop caught in the mix, and that's a nicely timed Transcendence coming out from Pure here. His team is all very close together, so they benefit from that one greatly. This is the res forced out now, and Yumas2 gets himself 3 kills. The counter res coming in from Ninja Nick now, and Splyce are back on their feet.
That was really good patience from Yumas2. Waited out the Transcendence, knew he had a chance with the Death Blossom, took out 3, but unfortunately the res brought everyone right back into the fight. Yumas2 now off on an island right now. He's getting zoned out pretty well. The rest of Splyce is dealing with him. He is going to go down the Pure. Earthshadow comes in late to the fight from Mini, but again, it's not the greatest of Earthshadows. Has not set up his team very well at all. Sickness will take him out in the end, as here comes Splyce. They are turning this fight in their favor. Sickness mopping things up with that Roadhog. And you want to talk about heroes that are good at cleanup. McCree's really good at it. Roadhog is also exceptionally good when you can land those hooks when shield tanks have left the fight.
Yeah, look, Mini's ultimate there as well, the Earth Shatter from him was a little bit awkward. He actually managed to catch Sickness with it, and then he wanted to charge and follow up. But he hit the wall. He hit the little alcove jutting out from the wall just outside of the Foundry entrance, so got absolutely 0 value for it, because by the time that happened, Shane just got up now. And this has to be a push, a really aggressive push from Tempo Storm to buy some time. Oh my lord, Naptime. And this is the problem with Mercies. They can sometimes be out away from the sphere of influence, the shield the Reinhardt gives, and they can get caught by those Deadeyes. And now, Splyce are going to just capitalize on this big time.
They're moving right in. Clockwork takes out Yumas2, gets it up by the Earth Shatter. Rez coming in, but I'm not sure it's going to be enough. Mangachu in the air here once more. No one is on. Clockwork actually has no idea. Clockwork taken out by this flanking Pharah to start things out, and this is Tempo trying to fight it back. We'll see if they can do that. Mangachu, though, off somewhat on an island. Has to be careful. 44 HP, but it does look like they're going to win the poke war. And I'm going to say one thing here, as teams are switching back to Mercy. I feel like Mercies aren't doing quite as good of a job of staying out of danger. Like, Naptime died to the Deadeye to start that out there, and you can't have that happen as a Mercy. As a Mercy, the #1 thing that you need to do is stay alive, especially when you have res up and ready.
Understood, but as a Mercy, you need to stay away from potential Graviton surges or anything that, like, close, and you need to stick with your Pharah. If you're pocketing your Pharah and Deadeye goes off and you can't get behind the shield, you're donezo. So at least in this case, now the Sound Barrier comes forward, Yumas2 be getting himself 2 kills, Shrugger and Pure falling down, but Sickness on the Soldier 76 now switching in, Shane off the edge, Peacemate, he at least gives Yumas2 for his troubles, and that will actually allow Splyce to at least put a Bastion up here, close to the payload. They're going to keep it going, so even if, they don't win this fight, and they're eventually going to have to back away as 6 players come to defend, they make themselves maybe 10 meters progress there, even if they didn't exactly win the fight.
Honorable sacrifice there from Shane as Ghost to take out Yumas2. Here goes Mangachu, though, on the way. Mercy pocketing him, but Sickness able to take him out. The McCree Soldier Fire, too much to bear. Here comes the Deadeye, Splyce on the assault, and Sickness on the 76 switch, getting all sorts of work done. Oh no, the res right into the Deadeye will set up a kill as Sickness is in the back right now. No one is on him. He got 3 unanswered kills as Splyce right now rolling it in off the hit scan damage.
I love this. This is the 3 offense heroes as well. We see Shrugger on Pharah now, so not only are they countering Mangachu with both McCree and Soldier 76, but they bring one of their own. That's just perfect. It's a bit more win at this stage, but we do see Splyce. They need to get across the line pretty well soon. They've been held a little bit longer than they would like, but that's big from Clockwork. Gets himself a quick triple. Sickness has his tactical visor as well, so you can't push out as Tempo Storm without the shield of Reinhardt, and this could be nasty here. He should pop this ult right about now. We see the Pharah getting up in the air, and it's stall phase now. We see, of course, the barrage coming down. It's Mini going to fall. So does Mangachu. Shrugger getting his opposite number. That's exactly what you want here. Even the Mei coming out from nap time is not going to work. It's going to be Sickness to pick him up with the tact visor, and now Tui has to get on the point and hold.
The Earthshatter had 2 people knocked down, but there's absolutely no follow through. It just sort of shows that Tempo is really on their heels right now. They're not able to coordinate on what they're doing. It's sort of willy-nilly. Reinhardt charges in, immediately falls down. Sickness in the back has a little bit of Winston pressure, is able to back out. And Sickness, really the untold story right now, gunning people down with that pulse rifle. And this is a cleanup phase right now for Tempo, and it doesn't even last all that long as they finish it out. However, it was still a decent defense coming out all in all. There was only 8 seconds left, so Splyce not quite getting as much as they wanted there, but all in all, we'll see how things work out. Tempo can definitely beat this time. I expect Mangachu to be coming in on the Pharah once more, but I gotta say, for Splyce, if they come in with the McCree Soldier once more, I feel like it's gonna force Mangachu to swap.
Yeah, so I mean, people wondering why we may be seeing Soldier 76 again. It's because he's had some changes. If you remember the nerf that sort of really hurt him, just to sort of even up the medium range competition between McCree's and 76s, is that his bullet spread occurred a lot quicker, right? It was more that it recovered a lot slower, sorry, should I say. So you couldn't just fire in bursts of 4 and then sort of do it again right away. You had to wait a little bit longer, and this really cut his DPS down. Now what they've done with Soldier 76 is they make his spread or the recoil occur quicker, but it recovers also quite fast. So now you can go back to the 4-shot burst, but you're more hedged more heavily into just 4-shot burst. You can't really spray reliably there, even though your recoil does recover pretty quickly. So it's pretty good against Pharah now, bringing that in there. I like this triple offense hero composition, ZP, because everyone was saying, where's my hero diversity? Well, there it is. I mean, team's got triple tank, triple support, triple DPS, doesn't matter. Whatever works. And Splyce, I like that they were willing to give that a go.
Right now, I would say that this has actually been the most hero diverse I think the meta has ever been. Maybe it's just because people are settling and figuring stuff out, and in 2 weeks we'll have the meta at some point. But as far as like most heroes having a role, we've seen good things from many of the heroes in the game. I think one notable exception, we haven't seen too much in the way of Bastion, but short of that, I feel like almost everyone has had their playtime in the hero roster, and what more can you ask for?
No, not much more. I mean, you called it the meta early on tonight. That also might be a possibility. We have a nice position where we don't really know what's going to be happening. But here on the attacking side now, it is Tempo Storm. Mangachu will be on the Pharah nap time, still pocketing with the Mercy. We're going to see Tui actually on the Reaper here. So that makes me think they're going to push left side through this hotel and maybe try and get the Reaper up close and personal early on. And you can use Mangachu hitting towards the back lines quickly, and they're going to do just that.
Mangachu right now goes to the back, gets the first pickoff he's looking for. Shrugger is RIP. 6v5 now in favor of Tempo. They could not ask for a better opening. Mini, though, going down once more. Big hook coming out from Sickness, and Sickness looking to reverse the damage that Mangachu has done. Still, though, it's back and forth. Sickness onto Tui is taking out both main DPS, gets another hook, and this is the Sickness show right now, being the hero and keeping Splyce's defense whole after what was a very good start by Tempo.
Yeah, great stuff. Sickness is really down with it, I'm not going to lie. Tui, kind of got to live his fantasy situations, reprint and get into the back lines quite safely, but he was still counted out ultimately. The problem is now it's staggered spawns coming back in for Splyce. They don't have a full roster yet. They're still waiting on Pure to come and join them here, and Shane is Ghost. His shield gets broken. He actually gets knocked off course with a boop there. He wanted to charge Mini, but he got cut down. Sickness finds Mini eventually. Mangachu responds on towards Shane is Ghost there. A Deadeye attempt coming out from Clockwork doesn't really pay off, and now the rest coming into the attacking side. It's going to be a Transcendence for Pure over the top of the fight, and a whole hog in there for Sickness. Oh, it's the Graviton Surge Barrage combo. You can't ask much more than that. I'd love to yell, but it's like 2 a.m. here, so I'll leave that to you, ZP.
I will do all the yelling for you. If there's one thing I can do, I can be a loud American and yell really loud, but that was great coming out from Mangachu at the very end. It was B-Drop setting him up, and it's been a long time since we've seen Graviton Barrage combos regularly, but it's good to have it back, and Mangachu being relentless right now, just rushing the Reinhardt down. Shayna's Ghost will be falling at the very end, and a lot of space being created here by Tempo, and they've given themselves a lot of time to work with, and an ult advantage.
When you stagger the spawns of the defenders and then you win a fight so convincingly there as well with the barrage combo, any wombo combo, you have a huge window where there's going to be maximum 2 defenders that can actually challenge you. So you are going to push them right back into their hidey hole and make maximum progress. And look at this. We're right about now is probably optimum fighting time for Tempo Storm. but they can't. Splyce can't fight them right now. They have to sort of overextend it, even trying to get to the payload. So this is great for Tempo. Now we're going to see Mangachu coming over the top yet again. We have a Dragon Blade coming out. Didn't quite really hit the mark there. Shrug is still trying to find the targets, and Tui again gets in the back line, gets himself two, and that time stays safe. Sticks to Mangachu, eventually falls down, but he's done his job. Huge win there coming out at this stage, and poor Clockwork stuck right behind the payload.
Tui went full Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle there, got into the sewer, was sitting there, super stealthy. They had no idea he was there, and he just ran in from the back line, got the Death Blossom he was looking for, and set up Tempo beautifully. And now you take a look at Tempo going to the next fight here, Uber. They're going to have Barrage at the ready. They're going to have Earth Shatter and Rez. Now, Mini, I don't think he's really been winning the Rhine game fight too much here, but if he's able to step up and beat out Shane here on the Earth Shatter, that might be all Tempo Storm needs to actually take this next fight and set a much quicker time.
Yeah, you're quite right. I mean, the fact is Mangachu and Tui are doing so much damn work. Air Shatter comes down, B dropped his core, but Mini is not. He responds with his own Earth Shatter, and now that Dragon Blade's coming to the back line. Shrugger's looking for nap time, but he can't quite find him. He wants to make him live up to his name, and he finally puts him 6 feet under. Shrugger now getting nice little cleave off that Dragon Blade, gets himself a couple of kills. Red Expert also falls down, and Mangachu lacking his support network there. He will also have to succumb, and finally a one fight here for Splyce. But my god, they're going to have to lock themselves in for the long haul here, ZP.
They absolutely will, because you look at the time that's left here, 8.9 seconds. I'm not sure, it's probably enough time to get onto the point, but it's not going to be a great attack on the point A. Whereas if you take a look at what Tempo has, if they're able to win here, they'll give themselves 2 to 3 minutes here to cap point A, and that's usually enough to take it. So Tempo in a dominant position right now in the new time bank system as Mangachu started things off with a bang, takes out Sickness, the soldier counter is dead, and he's just holding on to this barrage ready to go at a moment's notice.
Yeah, that's right. Shrug and Clockwork, though, doing good work. Hui goes into the back line, so just cut down by the Rockets. Going to be a res forced out here by nap time, and that puts Tui back on his feet. He switched away from the Reaper to the Winston here. A little bit more flexibility, a little bit more dive potential. But Pure now going to lead his team forward with that Transcendence, and under the cover of the healing, Sickness will find B dropped. There's going to be Shane, his Ghost, now moving up the line of scrimmage. He's going to push back, and only, not even anyone really being lost there in the side of, on the side of Tempo Storm, but they're going to back away anyway. Almost Korean-level disengage abilities.
It was a good disengage, and here's what's even better for them going forward. They're going to have Sound Barrier into Graviton, into Barrage, and you take a look at the defense. They're going to have a Resurrection up, but that's about it as far as it goes. No Transcend to stop the Barrage, so they can guarantee themselves potentially 3-4 kills here, and we'll see if they'll deal with the Res, but here comes Graviton coming in. They do get 2 people in. Mangachu coming in over the top, Barrage at the ready, takes out 3, but is the Res going to happen? Ninja Nick, triple Res on the way. The fight is still engaged, and here comes Attack Visor, laying the fight by Sickness. Has targets, won't be enough. Is able to take out 2 that started out, but it is devolving into a brawl right now. Both teams with the ability to take this fight.
Yeah, it's a bit of a shame that Mangachu actually just dominated that fight. It was nothing really from Shrugger. He had the barrage. It didn't really work out. Sickness, though, back to the Soldier 76, manages to pick off Red Expert as he's trying to push ahead with the rest of his team. However, this is still a 5-man roster of Tempo Storm, and they aren't going anywhere. They're not going to go for a fight per se, but they're not going to back off too far either now. You can see that Pharaoh battle eternally occurring over the top of the fight. Shrugger, with all the healing in the world he could possibly need, it's going to be hard for Mangachu to kill you when you're being healed, and you have the Harmony Orb on you, so double heals, double the fun. But again, we're set up for a big fight here. Transcendence is there for Pure, but Mini has the Earth Shatter. He uses it a little bit too early, though. It doesn't work out.
Mini is not getting value Earth Shatters. Shane has been outplaying him for most of this game. It's 2 quick kills here from the side of Splyce, and they're just going to roll it forward right now. They know they have an advantage. A big Fire Strike takes down Bread Expert in the end, and this is going to be Splyce holding once more. And you take a look at the next fight, they will have Transcendence and Res up, so they're fully stocked now on their support ultimates as time starting to slip away from Tempo.
Shrugger now as well. Just a couple rockets coming out, and you're right, time is getting away from Tempo. Under 2 minutes here, and Splyce are the kings of just pulling out these ridiculous holds. I've referred to the Temple of Anubis game against Energy during the qualifiers for Atlantic Showdown multiple times, and that was incredible from them. They're a little bit split right now, but the Earth Shatter comes in. It was all planned. They were just going to spread up and then converge over on the point and get the damage done. The Graviton Surge comes in, but there's no follow-up to speak of. Oh no, there is. It's going to be Mangachu over the top there with a barrage, and he gets on towards Shrugger, but still, the damage is done. Mini and Bread Expert chime in and get the cleanup, and now Pure and Sickness are going to be strapped for teammates, and Sickness, oh no. God, he gets knocked off the edge.
Sickness was knocked off by that concussive blast. Mangachu getting rid of the problem, and Tempo in the end, they're able to finish it out. A minute 23 is left for them here. Not the most amount of time to capture point A. It's not comfortable because a lot of times teams will be able to defend for that long. But now we get to see it here. The mad dash of 1 minute on to the point coming out here from Splyce. Will it be enough?
I don't know. We obviously do. There is a minute added on for both these guys, so Splyce at least have the 1 minute to work with here. And to be fair, Splyce's first point hold was pretty nice, I think, really. That was probably the shining light for them, as well as towards the end, their hold was nice. But now we finally get to see how this time bank really plays out here. It's going to have to be Splyce on the attack, as they did have the lesser time. I believe that's how it works. It's no longer a coin flip anymore. So they have 1 minute. Yeah, they have 1 minute to get as much as they possibly can. They do get overtime, and they can even finish the map. I've seen teams do it. But then whatever they have, when we go back to the second half of this overtime, as it were, there's going to be 2 minutes and 14 seconds remaining for Tempo to essentially try and do the same thing or beat it.
The one thing that's worth noting here about the system, though, is that overtime is a thing. So if time runs out, but you're still on the payload, you can push that payload as long as you possibly can. Right. And that's actually one of the most exciting things that's been added to Overwatch. We've already seen it come in a big way just yesterday. And for me, I can't wait to see the possibility of that happening here again. We'll see what happens, though. Splyce going to be on the attack, and Shrugger, and he's going to stay on this Hanzo.
Yep, I mean, this is it. This is a great situation to bring the dice roll composition in. I mean, get 1 or 2 picks and you can pretty much get the point on the first push as you start to approach a little bit more. That should be the plan here for Splyce, but it's not airtight. It's not guaranteed to work. Still, good damage on towards Mini Shield. They break that so early on in this fight, and that means they can move up a lot further. This is going to force Tempo Storm back. Great hook on towards B-Drop, but he goes into Ice Storm straight away. Not exactly the target you always want to hit, but Mini goes down. The Reinhardt is missing here for Tempo Storm. This could be a nightmare for them.
It is not a great start. Mangachu right now going to the backline is going to get taken out by Shrugger and Sickness. Sickness staying alive is going to take a breather. We'll have another hook up here in a moment. There's no shield tank to stop him from doing what he wants to do, as really Splyce just swarming all over Tempo right now. Tempo in trouble, and Yumasui trying to be a hero here on McCree. It's not going to be enough, and this payload is going to get moving, and the overtime rush is going to be on, Uber.
Yeah, it's going to be happening, and it's all about how much meters, how far you can make progress here as well on this next point. It's unlikely that we're going to see them make it in one sort of overtime hold all the way to the Foundry. So if you're Tempo Storm, you should probably try and go for a fight here. Wait for nap time to have the res. That's usually the go signal, especially with Bread Expert has Tac Visor and B-Drop's going to have his Blizzard. So you really should win this fight, even with Ninja Nick's res up. But Dragon Strike is going to be available for Shrugger. He just hit a headshot there as well. It's going to try and charge that up nicely for him. But yes, overtime it is. 42 meters now as well. We're going to have a bit of a fight here. Dragon Strike doesn't really get the value he would have hoped.
No, Blizzard does come down, doesn't get too much to start things out, and we'll get a few popsicles later on, but when they have 3 early picks, it's not going to be enough. Yumasui does try to fall through at the Deadeye, and we'll see, Rez comes in from nap time, and now Tempo off of this Rez, they're turning the fight in their favor. Mini picking up the double kill, could drop the Earthshatter, but the counter Rez is out, and here comes Splyce. Mercy meta, definitely a thing right now. Clockwork and Shane getting the follow through. Tank play a big deal right now, as Sickness still in the fight, looking for the pickoffs, finds nap time, looking for more, and there's nothing that can really stop this Hog right now as he goes for the cleanup.
Oh my lord, the fight being won there as well is just so massive for Tempo here. This is where they can actually win the game, to be honest. It's going to be 2 minutes and 14 available for Tempo, to actually get the win or to get this distance here. You could potentially win another fight off this. You can snowball in overtime situations. It's not unheard of, especially with Mini right around the corner of another Earthshatter. He's going to have to use that very effectively because Sickness has whole hog. Ninja Nick's close to res, so he can keep this fight going a bit longer. And Clockwork's Diva comes out for extra stall just to give his team a chance to refresh.
They messed up! They got off the point! Huge mistakes from Splyce! They forgot that the overtime doesn't last very long at that point, and they just, absolute disaster. They could have won that fight and kept it going, Uber. But even still, it was a very good overtime rush to get the payload that far, but
no, like, you're exactly right, though. I mean, the thing is that overtime gets exponentially, literally exponentially shorter as time goes on there as well. So you pretty much, if you're on overtime rush, if you even get booped off the point, it's immediate. It's a split second that you run out of time. But still, 103 meters is pretty good. With 2 minutes 14, right? If you're Tempo Storm and you don't get the point on the first push, you're already sweating. Already, because you still got to work through the streets phase. And to be fair, I'm happy to be in Splyce's position because they know exactly how long they have to stall for. They know exactly how far away they need to keep the payload. So all their win conditions are laid out for them. They don't have to go, well, we should try and do our best, boys, and let's try and win. It's like, no, we know what we have to do. We need to hold here. They can cater a team composition to it. They can cater a strategy. This is pretty good for them, and they got a lot more than they maybe bargained for on their little overtime push, despite only having a minute.
They did more than they really should have been able to do. There was a bit of a fail from Tempo to let it get that out of hand. Now Tempo, even though they had more time going into this, you can't help but feel like they're absolutely on the back foot right now. Splyce, all they have to do really is win one major team fight, maybe two, and they will win this map. So Tempo backs against the wall. Lock could be on Mangachu right now to open this up as Farah.
Yeah. Farah, no surprises here as well. Mangachu needs to find these targets. If he gets picked off, literally, it sucks, but it could lose him the game right there. So this is crunch time now. Remember, it's 1-0 up to Splyce. If they win here, they win the whole series. So Naptime and Mangachu going up. No, he gets hooked in by Sickness. Perfect opening there as well. And Pure takes down Mini. This is exactly what you want if you're Splyce.
Splyce is getting the opening they were looking for. Clockwork right now, no one on him as he goes for the McCree cleanup. Bread Expert in trouble, just dancing back and forth. Big Hammer going to take him out in the end. And this is going to be full cleanup and staggered deaths right now for Splyce. So Tempo, they had that 1 minute of advantage, Uber. Well, that minute is gone. The advantage is over. And in fact, now they're going to have to run into a defense of Splyce that is going to be stacked with ultimates, including Dragon Blade.
That's right, and that time as well is going to have his res at least up at the moment. That is going to have to be played off the back of very effectively. Graviton Surge there for B drop, but Zarya now gets counted out pretty hard by reses because you can get the sickest wombo and it doesn't matter. But Mangachu now goes and he gets shielded, but Striker going to the back line with the Dragon Blade. He's trying to get on towards Naptime, but Naptime gets hooked by Sickness. This guy is insane. Mangachu falls down as well to Shrugger, and that's it. That's just it. Naptime dies with res, and my god, Splyce just getting the perfect picks in these fights. The pick of Roadhog on defense is working like an absolute bloody charm.
Sickness has definitely been a hero for Splyce in these last few fights, but now let's talk about Tempo. Tempo now, they're going to have to not only win this fight at a huge ult disadvantage, but then do a crazy overtime rush. The odds keep stacking against them. Mini, will you be the hero? You have the Earth Shatter at the ready, drops the Earth Shatter, knocks down one, doesn't get much more than that as Clockwork, the counter engage, gets the Deadeye over the top, 4-5 kills now for Splyce, and Splyce, they don't have it one just yet. There is going to be one more last gas push just because of how close the spawns are in King's Row, but they are awfully close now, Uber.
The thing is as well, they have a whole hog. So if they need to push Tempo off the payload to sort of finish that overtime, they have exactly what they need to do it. This is just diabolical situations here for Tempo Storm. They've really got to make things happen now, and Mangachu's going to go into the back line again. Gets up in the air, safe from a hook for now, but Shrugger seems to be concerned with other things. But look, Ninja Nick's been found by Mangachu. He's going to get taken down sort of in this little hallway now. No! Ninja Nick! 1v1's Mangachu! He freaking goes nuts on towards that Farah and takes him down. And the res comes out from Naptime here, but will it be enough? You Must Too is going to fall twice in a row, no less here. And Splyce, they are the clutch kings.
Mangachu just got embarrassed by Ninja Nick there. Things are going from bad to the worst at Tempo right now. They're trying to get on the point. B-Drop, though, has to back out as Clockwork lays in the poke. Overtime is over. And ladies and gentlemen, we are going to see Splyce in our upper bracket finals where, Uber, you never know, they could be going up against Luxury Watch.
Oh, not like this. I just cannot. I can't get over the way that game finished. Mangachu got 1v1'd by a freaking mercy. Ninja Nick, you absolute monster. And because that was the key part of that fight, right? Mangachu committed all of his time to getting onto it. Oh, I hope he gets to play the game for this. I don't know if he will, but oh, that was incredible stuff there. Just insane. Fantastic job. And Splyce, Clutch Kings, they've done it before, and that was just a fantastic hole to win things out.
It was great, and as well as like Sewer, let's not forget, this is the magic of the new time bank system, because remember, if this were the old system, Tempo Storm would have won King's Row, we'd be onto a map 3, but instead we got an incredibly exciting finish to the game, and it's one of those things where I know there was a lot of controversy or stopwatch, new systems, all the rest, but I gotta say, I think Blizzard really got the system right, because that was exciting to watch, as Splyce ends up winning it 2-0 and on map score.
I still can't. I'm sorry. I'm collecting myself here. Look, incredible. Let's get on with the job, though. Really great stuff from Splyce. And Time Bank, you know, people were a little bit dubious about it when they first introduced Time Bank, of course, into those 2 capture point maps. But it's worked out really, really well here. They made some slight tweaks. Now it means we don't have to worry about stopwatches. So you know when the game's going to finish, right? We get these exciting crescendos. We get these massive moments where everything comes to a head. That was just absolutely perfect stuff there as well. I had to almost swore when I saw that little ending to the game. And congrats to Splyce as well. I think the whole fact that this went to Time Bank in the first place is definitely a big plus in favor of Tempo Storm. They ostensibly played like regular time better. But that's the beauty of Time Bank, ZP. It's when, you know, Splyce turn up, they know what's at stake, they know what their win conditions are. They can play to those so much better.
Yeah, and honestly, it was just a great experience to watch. Tempo can definitely walk away from that and go, okay, we did some things right. Certainly, of course, we played the main map faster. We just need to tighten up our defense in those overtime second attack situations, and they'll probably be able to do that. I mean, they are a newer team in the sense of mixing all the parts together. It looked promising. Splyce, though, looked a little bit better. I will say, though, if we had to mention one point of differentiation, where we talk a lot about DPS players outplaying each other and all the rest, but really, I feel like in the Reinhardt v. Reinhardt matchup, Shane was doing much more than Mini in that series, where Mini, he was struggling to get what he was looking for. Shane was winning the Rhine games over and over again, had shield up a lot of times during Earthshatter, was able to land Earthshatters of his own, and if you look back at the tape of that match, I feel like that's just a tale of Shane playing incredibly well.
Yeah, no, really. And I sort of bigged him up at the start of the game. I said that as soon as I saw him come into the mix for Splyce, I was like, this guy's a perfect fit. Why are we even holding tank tryouts? And I'm glad that they kept him on board. It's probably because no one else tried out that was even nearly as strong as Shane. But really beautiful stuff there. Look, I mean, Pure, he had his moments as well. I pointed him out over on King of the Hill. Splyce are looking very, very strong. I expect them to go pretty much to the top with this team. They had their problems, of course, as we all sort of know. But they're looking incredibly good right now. I am just solidly impressed.
Alrighty, guys, so that brings us to the end of the series. Our next series promises to be awesome as well. It is going to be Luxury Watch Red, a team hailing from Korea, up against Team Solo Mit, not Mid. It's another parody name. Welcome to Overwatch. Teams love making casters' life terrible, but it will, luckily for me, I'm not casting that game. It is going to be Uber and Hex take it away, but it should be a good one as we follow the saga of Luxury Watch and see if they can bring their way to the upper bracket finals. But we're going to take a short break. We'll be right back.